Hello. What's up? It's your guy Carcino once again. And let's talk about some of our greats. Michael Jackson, Prince. And the dilemma between the two. The world want to have you believe that these two hated each other. Because that seems to be the course that most people want to take. Instead of relishing in both of their greatness and just like, man, appreciating the art, we gotta pick between the two. Are you team Michael or you team Prince? Can't be both. And it's so ridiculous, it doesn't even make sense. Because the music dictates your taste of what you're supposed to like. But in pop culture, they always seem to want to put labels on people and compare them. When James Brown was doing his thing, there was nothing like JB. Mazio! Where the fuck? I'm ready to do my thing. So when James was doing his thing, and as he started to get over, he had so much influence throughout the world through the 60s. JB and the funk. That sound, that high bass and drum, it's not really on rhythm, but it is making sense. Just jamming out a jam session, and everybody just hitting it, high energy music. Then the way James would slow it down to do please, please, please. Of course, it's influencing so many. You didn't know how he was doing it. James Brown beat payola. He beat everything. Still had sold out arenas. Because he knew how to work through the people. And the biggest artist he's influenced wind up being a bright-eyed kid named Michael Jackson. Watching him. Learning all James' moves. Doing them on television. Doing them at the radio station for Motown. Made him want to do what he did. Entertain. It was just in his soul to do. Prince Rogers Nelson, since the day he was born, was gifted. Since 2 years old, he learned how to play like every musical instrument by the time he was like, I don't know, 5, 6. You know, so music was like first nature to him. It was, while everybody else was doing other things, music just came naturally to him. As far as playing the instruments. And watching James Brown and what he was doing. James, bum, 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 hitting the music and the notes. It made Prince want to entertain more and more. Prince played, but you know, he loved basketball. And he was very good at basketball. Well, now everybody knows that. But I knew that back then, that he was incredible. So when the Chappelle story came out, I'm like, that's 100% true. Prince could play. There's no doubt about that. Prince could actually get down on the basketball court. And the fact that Prince and Michael, you know, happened to meet during their coming up, before, like, when Off the Wall and all this stuff was, Michael's getting ready to go solo. You know, Prince had to grind it out in these old, you know, in Minneapolis, in the club where, you know, new sound and punk was coming into effect. He was going through that era. Like when he was starting off and doing this off the wall type music that people had never really heard before, and it was just, they weren't ready for it. It's not commercial, in other words. Michael Jackson's already a household name. He's like that kid TV star who you watch grow up with his brothers. Born into the Motown family since 6 years old. So Michael came up under the music umbrella of everybody else, all the big names, the Berry Gordys. Prince did not. Prince came from what they call the belly, the muscle, from the ground up. Not really endorsed by anybody except for real music heads in the industry who knew music and knew who the artist was. They went out in search of Prince. They said, you got to see this kid, he's amazing. But he never really had a public platform for his music because it wasn't commercially sellable. It was more seductive, sultry, personal, aggressive type music. And they didn't know if Prince would ever be that commercial type of artist. But when they came out with the Club 57 in LA, and it was the biggest, hottest spot in the world, everybody was there, all these people there. Michael Jackson was there every night. Almost. Michael Jackson was living in LA, and they had just got out there, and he's seeing all this new, like, it was crazy, the energy and the people dancing to this disco type sound. The disco music was in, and he's seeing all these people make out with everybody, and Michael just want to be there. Like, I got to get back to that club. Because the energy level, this is far from what Michael Jackson is. But he wanted to be around that energy, which created Off the Wall album. That whole Off the Wall album is like the Club 52, or whatever the club it is, 52 or 57. Everything that you got from that club was there on that album. Now, Prince is there one night. And Prince is like, they were like, look, that's Prince. So Prince and Michael had a brief encounter, like, yeah, how you doing? And that was like it. And it was like no real big thing. And they was like, yeah, he's a musician, and yeah, he's outstanding. He could play this and play that. So Michael was intrigued to try to hear some of his music. Michael heard some of Prince's music, and he really wasn't all that impressed. And just like, oh, okay, well, you know, I wish him the best, you know, with his music. But he wasn't really blown away by Prince like everyone else was. Now, Off the Wall comes out, and Prince is working, like, he's in the mix of making Thriller. The Thriller album. And him and Prince meet, and that's the video you seen where I think James Brown, they go to see a James Brown performance, and Prince is in the crowd with him. And he was sitting with Michael, and I think Prince may have had the Controversy album out, I'm not sure. But Prince was thrown away by, Michael was kind of drawn back from Prince's arrogance. Prince is so confident that it comes off as arrogance. And Michael is the most humblest human being there is, and probably was too humble in situations he needed to be bold. And Prince is always bold. And there is no meeker version of Prince. Prince Rogers Nelson was always bold, confident. And some people just say he's a a-hole to work with, you know, because he's just so arrogant. He doesn't give you he don't believe in pats on the back, like, good job. He think that's enabling, to tell someone good job. He's like, if I tell you you're doing a good job when you're not, what does that really mean? So I'm not doing a good job. You're doing well right now, but are we done with the song? No, so why would I tell you you're doing a good job? It's enabling. It's crippling. If I tell you you're doing a good job, I'm basically handicapping you to making you believe that this is the bar. And once you do hit this, I'm doing a good job. So why even push further? I think that word's crippling. So Prince was always deep in thought. Michael was never that deep in thought. Michael was smart. Like he was more business smart than people gave him credit for. He listened to people. When people talked, he listened. And he took that information and made proper business decisions. But he was out of touch with reality sometimes with his wants and needs. He didn't have a value for money. He didn't understand how much to tip or what would be the rate for tipping. So he would just over tip or overpay for anything because he has no sense of money. It's not like Michael Jackson ever handled money. Like had the money in his hand and had to pay for something. That was someone else's job. Michael just said, I want this, 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 and this, and it was his. He never had that, so he never went through or had to experience actually paying something out of his own hand. Which is a lot different from Prince. So when Michael Jackson, James Brown called Michael Jackson on stage, James Brown never really heard of Prince too much. He heard a little bit about him, but he didn't know Prince like that. He only invited him on the stage because Michael he's like, Prince is out there. If you don't invite him up, he'll feel a certain way. So yeah, at least bring him up. So he says, Prince out there, come on up here, Prince. So Prince comes up there and does the performance where he holds the pole where he thinks is a steady pole, and he falls off the stage because the pole was not sturdy at all. And the performance was just not good, and they said Michael laughed at it and all of this stuff in the house. I don't know about that stuff. I don't think, people create stuff when people are gone, so all that extra stuff you heard from the producer, yeah, we were watching it and he was laughing at Prince saying he was a joke. I don't know if that stuff is true or false. That's between him and Michael and whatever. But I could tell you this. He respected Prince as an artist the moment he heard Purple Rain. He heard Purple Rain and said, oh, wow, this is what they were talking about when they were talking about Prince. Because Michael was bigger than life. Then Purple Rain came out. And once Purple Rain came out, only people that really knew of Prince knew of him from 1999 and Little Red Corvette. And those were the people that was hitting the clubs. The Controversy album really put him on the map. So, but he wasn't a commercial figure. Then Purple Rain came out, and this was going to be like his breakout album to make him the man. So when it happened, Prince blows up. He's everywhere. And the movie really, because Purple Rain is really the soundtrack. Instead of an album, it's a soundtrack to the movie. And it wound up being like one of the greatest films made for such a low budget film. And people's like, how much of this is Prince's real life? Prince loved that. Mystery was like a key thing to him. Being weird, being exotic. But his music had a sound, which made him one of my favorite musicians, because he dabbled just like Michael did. Both of them are essential. They're so different in personality, but they have a lot of similarities as to what their core was, which was James Brown, which influenced a lot of their music. They knew stage presence was very important. Prince knew how to deliver stage presence better than anyone. Michael, genius at it, studied other people's presentations on how to approach stage presence, how to deliver it properly. That's what motivated Michael the most, to see the reaction of the crowd like a movie. How they go, that's why he would go to the movies and watch film to get creative ideas and seeing how the people responded. And that's why he's like, video and movies, that's going to be the way to sell the music, because you can have a visual display as to go along with the theme of the music, and it's going to be wonderful. So the Bad album was supposed to be Michael's. That's why he came out with Moonwalker. So you can have an understanding more of the Bad album, sort of like Purple Rain. Michael wanted Moonwalker to be at the movie theaters, but he was being pushed not to have it, and a lot of people were pushing at CBS not to, like, let's just do a home video. Theatrical release is not, you know. He wanted a Prince Purple Rain type of feel. He understood, because of the movie Purple Rain, how it made the album so much better. Because you understood it. You had the visuals in your head. You can put the story to the songs. Like the actual song Purple Rain. People didn't like it till they saw the movie and said, oh, I understand the song now. Now they love the song. And that song is, throughout the years, I've heard it replayed. People love Purple Rain. Now, Michael wanted that with Bad. So Quincy Jones decided, well, let me try to get Prince to do the song, you know. Huge mistake. Well, it wasn't a huge mistake. It's just Prince was not really keen to the idea. Plus, he was already working on his album, which was getting ready to be released. It was almost complete. And he wasn't in the same mind space as Michael. You know, he was doing Sign of the Time. And Michael, though he was doing the Bad album, they wanted him to be on the theme song I'm Bad. After everything fell apart with Run DMC, and they come out with the actual song that they want to do, and they got Prince in there to give him the layout and saying, this is what we want to do. We want to have it like a showdown with you and Prince, and they got the lyrics. Michael's lyrics are already done for the song. You know, the same lyrics you hear in there, and the first verse is like him going at Prince. Your blood is mine. Don't tell you right. So Prince is like, I don't know who he gonna be saying that to, because one, your butt is mine. You are not gonna be saying that to me, and I'm not gonna be saying that to you. So Prince is like, look, the song is good the way it is. Like, you don't need anybody on it. There's no way I'm going to get on a song like this. You don't need me for this. There's no way I'm getting on a song that's going to be saying your butt is mine, and and, you know, like, no, Michael's not going to be talking to me that way, and it's not going to go well. And Michael just thought he was just so arrogant, but it was a power move. If Prince would have done that, it would have destroyed everything he had built. And that's what he felt. If I do that and I put myself on that song with Michael and we're going at it back and forth, it'll just destroy everything I've built. And it would have given Michael all the power, because the song's on Michael's album. It's the lead song and the title of his album. bad. And he's besting Prince in a one-on-one battle, showing him who's bad. That was very arrogant and bold from Michael's side, which was a surprise, which means that Michael's not that character. So who put this up to task? Quincy Jones. Quincy was the musical genius who came up with this idea. Michael didn't even feel like it was a great idea for them to put them on that kind of a song to do that anyway. But they already had the lyrics, so they said, well, we'll just do it as is and make the song. Like Prince said, he's like, the song is going to sell. He's like, the song's going to do what you want it to do. You don't need me for this. It's going to do what it's going to do. Don't even worry about it. So, after the studio session, Michael just said, we're just going to go as is. And so him and Prince are, on the set. They sitting back talking. And Prince is looking like he's disinterested the majority of the time. And he's talking to Prince, and so they sitting back, and he's like, so what do you think of the songs you've heard? Well, I really think they're gonna do what they're supposed to do, Michael. Some of them, musically, they're gonna touch people the right way. The 3 songs that I've heard, the bad song, the one that you did, it's gonna do what you want it to do, Michael. So like I told Quincy, I told Q, you don't need me for that record. I was saying the same thing. I think the content's a little too aggressive. And I'm like, this isn't me. It isn't me. No, it's not me. I don't want to be that aggressive. And not to another artist. No. Exactly. And I'm not going to say that to you. And I definitely wouldn't want you to say that to me on a song. Down the road, I'm quite sure there might be a project we might do together with Celine. See, Celine Dion was another artist. Now, we all know who Celine Dion is now, but she started off with Michael Jackson. She was one of his background singers. But Prince actually knew Celine Dion also. Like, he wanted to, get Celine Dion to sing for him on a song. Like, he wanted to do a song but he ended up getting Sheena Easton, who was a much bigger name at the time. Plus, he was banging her. And that's part of the Prince contract. You got that look. Color them bitch in black. Color me taking them back. I think I want some. You got the love. You got the love. Show them the big and my boy. Hey, your face is jamming. Y'all finna have me play some Prince on my way to the gym. I'ma beat this love is good. Let's get the man. You got the love. So, both of them put out classic albums. They are entirely different. Sign of the Times is so much different than Purple Rain, but it's an awesome album. Bad and Thriller are not that much different. They're a little bit different, but not that much. Bad, to me, took more risk, I think, with Bad. And Bad had more number one songs than Thriller ever had. But yet they dump on Bad, but they praise Thriller. Thriller was just innovating. That after Thriller came out, anything else would just be considered secondary. But Bad is just as good as Thriller. That's what people don't realize. Thriller just had so many songs for that era and time that just branch over. Where Bad was kind of a newness, new sound, more rugged, fast beat, fast tones. You know, they were trying things like with Speed Demon and like all that, but Dirty Diana, it was more into a Dirty Diana was more of a Prince song than anything because of his delivery. The way it was all mostly sultry. That's why Slash is on there doing the guitar. It's more of a Prince type of record. So Bad album was borderlining into more of what Purple Rain was doing with Dirty Diana. And there was a couple other songs on there that followed that guideline. But where it was like hard rock, and then Liberian Girl was the island song. Everybody think like MC Lyte just got that beat out of nowhere, but that was Michael Jackson's beat first with Liberian Girl. Then MC Lyte used it. B-boy, where the hell you at for the Sunset Park? Tupac went to the that keep moving on, doing it right. Original version of Thuggin'. Now, the last time they met, and Michael, there was a lot of issues going on at that time. Meaning that during those, few little moments they've seen each other, it was normally at award shows. Prince had been the man for a while. He switched bands. He's no longer with the Revolution now. He's with New Power Generation, and he's changed. And he's still the same arrogant, confident Prince, whatever you want to say it is. He's still that guy. But things have changed now. He's at odds with the company that he's with. Michael's coming out with his new album, Dangerous. And he wanted to have Prince on that record. Prince reluctantly was going to play the instrument. He was like, I'll do the music for one of the records. And the music that they had was black and white. They wanted to make this song about the color, and everybody was so caught in the black and white. Prince didn't have total control. So Prince ended up taking himself out of the equation completely. And this was in the original concept of doing this record. So Prince was like, I'm not going to be on that record. I don't want to have anything to do with that song. First, he liked the concept and was like, that's creative. I can get behind that. Then it went from everybody having their hands involved and Quincy having his... It was just too much. Prince at this time is used to having total control over what he wants to do. Plus, he's at odds with his label and he's tired of them making money off of him. He doesn't want to make money off them anymore. Then came the awards where he wrote Slave on his face and wouldn't sing during the We Are the World, reenactment on stage for the anniversary of it, and Quincy Jones is yelling at him in the back because he wouldn't sing. And everybody's like, sing. He's like, I'm going to just suck this lollipop. So, and no one understood why, and he wrote slave on his face and didn't understand what the message was, and he was trying to say how the record company were basically, pimping everybody and made us all slaves to these contracts. So he really just was like, I don't want to be on the record. I'll do the music. I can get paid another way and we'll work that out, but I don't want to have anything to do with being on the record. He liked the concept, but when he didn't have control, that dead it black or white. And then they had someone else do the guitar and the music, and it just sounded ridiculous. And everybody just saw Michael Jackson was white as snow and just was trying to wrap their head around that. Like, what in the world happened to Michael Jackson? I mean, really, it just was like people trying to wrap their head around, it's black, it's white, it's stuck with you, yeah. And then they finally saw the morph thing and was like, oh man, look at that, that's cool. But what happened to Michael Jackson? Did you see that? He wasn't that White on the Bed album, was he? So that was the dilemma that both guys went through as artists. But they did not hate each other. They just had different energies. That's just it. So we have to get over that. Now, you could say who was better, or you like this person's music better than the other one. But don't try to make it look like what they tried to sell it as, to turn everybody against each other. Prince versus Michael Jackson. I just felt that was insane. Prince is more in line with Rick James than anything. Now, those two didn't like each other. Now, that's something different. Those two did not like each other. It is funny, too. All right, I got to go, though. We'll do that next. I'm out. Not next video, but you know what I mean.